Hello, my name is Nat Ben, and welcome back to my channel. So, I'm on winter break right now, and because of that, I've had a lot of time, and I've been playing a lot of Stardew Valley. And through this, I've had some thoughts. I kind of had an idea for a presentation of something I've been thinking about for a while, and so I decided to make that a reality. So, here we go.
So this is my presentation on why Shane is the best marriage candidate in Stardew Valley. A presentation by me. So first, I have a couple disclaimers. First of all, there are spoilers in this presentation, specifically for Shane's storyline, but also I can't guarantee that I won't talk about anything else as well. So if you don't want to be spoiled about Stardew Valley, don't watch this video. Also, I have not played through every marriageable character storyline, specifically Haley, Emily, and Harvey. Sorry, they've never really interested me, that's why I haven't played through them, but also I have read their Wikipedia pages, so I am still familiar. And finally, none of these pictures are mine. I found them on Google. I do not take credit for any of the images in this presentation. First, we're going to start with some background. I have played through many playthroughs of Stardew Valley. I do not know how many hours I have in the game. I have romanced him in almost every playthrough. An important thing about me and Shane is that I did not choose the Shane life. The Shane life chose me. Let me elaborate on that. In my first playthrough of Stardew Valley, I of course knew that I had a dating option, and so I went through and I researched all of the marriage candidates, and picked out one in particular that I thought would be perfect. Who was this initial prospect? Alex. See, I'm a basic white girl. He's attractive. He has a sad backstory. He is a jock. I don't know. I was really into it. I was initially all on board for romancing Alex. However, when you start Stardew Valley, you have to introduce yourself to all of the villagers. And of course, I had to introduce myself to Shane. And let me tell you, he is not a pleasant person in the beginning. He's like, I don't want to talk to you, I don't want to be your friend, and being the annoying person that I am, I of course made it my #1 goal to make him my friend. So while I was also romancing Alex, I was spending all my time talking to Shane. And it's not that hard to become someone's friend in Stardew Valley. All you have to do is talk to them every day, and in Shane's case, sometimes give them hot peppers and beer. Wish it was that easy in real life. Anyways, so as I went about romancing Alex and talking to Shane every day, I found myself going through Shane's plotline and his storyline, and, well, I got a little bit attached. And that brings me into my first point of why Shane is the best, is that he has the best storyline. While all of the characters, I would argue, are fully fleshed out, some of them are a little bit boring, especially their romance lines. So like Elliot's is like, help me write a book, and same with Sam, it's like, help me write a song, or like, wow, my ex really sucks. While they are fun, and I think some of them are really interesting, they are not as engaging, I would say, as Shane's storyline. That is because Shane's deals with heavy issues. And once again, not saying that some of the other ones don't. Like, I know Alex's has to do with grief. A lot of them have to do with family issues or other things, but none of them get as real, I would argue, as Shane's, because he is dealing with alcoholism and depression, which are two really big deals that I think Stardew handles really well. So as you go through his storyline, you find him passed out in the woods, you bring him to the doctor, and he's like, wow, I should probably make a change, and that continues through the rest of his cutscenes. He starts repairing his relationship with his niece Jazz by cutting back on his alcohol and buying her slippers. Like, he goes to therapy, he talks about wanting to get better with his mental health, and it shows him working on his drinking problem. He doesn't get better right away, but it shows him actively working and trying to be a better person for both the player character and for his family and himself, which I think is really cool, and that's why I think that he has the best storyline. Theoretically, by becoming his friend, the player character basically saves Shane's life. He talks about not wanting to be alive for very much longer, and then by the end, by the time you're married, you have dialogue like this, like, he's in a good place, his life is doing better, like, you really help him by becoming his friend and husband, which I think is really sweet. Number 2, marrying Shane does not upset the status quo. Let me elaborate. So every marriageable character has a partner or an established person that the game shows they would end up with if the character wasn't around. Some of these examples are Leah and Elliot. They show them talking all the time. They're really good friends, and probably down the line, if the player character didn't come around, they would probably get married. Same with Abigail and Sebastian. There is specific dialogue where Abigail is shown to have a crush on Sebastian. Like, it's pretty well established that there are these kind of couples already in Stardew Valley. And this is very clearly shown at the flower dance. Here it is. All of the characters have to choose a partner to dance with, and look at that. It's a small town. They probably would all end up getting married together, right? So it stands to reason that no matter who the player character ends up romancing, it would kind of disrupt one of these relationships. However, there is one additional person who is not romanceable by the player character who does have a stake in these relationships. Who would that be? This man, right here, Clint the blacksmith. It is established in the cutscenes that Clint really likes Emily. He has a huge crush on her, but he's really shy and he doesn't know what to do about it. There's lots of cutscenes on it, and eventually the player character can help Clint ask Emily out on a date. Theoretically, down the line, if Clint is successful in this, that would take Emily out of the equation of all like the perfect 6 couples in Stardew Valley. Now, see, if Emily gets taken out of the equation, who was her partner? Let's look at this again. Let's look at the flower dance couples. Who is that? Oh look, it's Shane! So theoretically, by marrying Shane, you are not preventing another person in Stardew Valley a marriage prospect down the line of someone who they are really interested in. So that's what I mean by marrying Shane does not upset the status quo. Mostly what I mean is he doesn't disrupt any potential relationships that are already canon in Stardew Valley. That leads me to my final point, number 3, blue chickens. You know, I wanted another reason why Shane is the best, and I couldn't think of anything. But you know, blue chickens should be a reason enough. Going through Shane's storyline gets you blue chickens. Once he has found a new purpose in life that isn't drinking, he finds a way to breed blue chickens at Marnie's ranch. Super cool. After he does that, you can get them for your own farm. And it's also shown that Shane has a really good relationship with these chickens. He's really bonded with them, even so that when he moves onto your farm, he makes a little, like, his own little chicken coop and raises his own little chickens. So of course, a farm is a perfect place for a chicken-loving man. I just think that he's so happy living on the farm, and that's why it's another good reason why you marry Shane. Look at how happy this man is. Look at how happy he is with his chickens. You're telling me he wouldn't be super happy on my farm? It's perfect. However, I do have issues with his storyline. Just by saying that he's my favorite doesn't mean that I think it's a perfect storyline or I think that he was perfectly handled. Primarily, my biggest issues are with Shane post-marriage. So the post-marriage Shane does do a couple of things well. In the 14 Heart event that is added, they do show him continuing with his sobriety. I don't really care that he goes to the saloon every day because it is kind of his routine. And the 14 Heart event does establish that while he is going, he is drinking soda and he's just still interacting with people and having a time to go out. My biggest issue with him post-marriage is his room. Like, I know it's a part of his, like, this is very reminiscent of his home at Marnie's. Like, yeah, he did have beer cans, it's very stained, whatever. Like, it makes sense with his personality pre-marriage, but by getting to the point where you can marry Shane, you have already gone through the storyline establishing that he wants to quit drinking. And so making his room full of beer cans and really messy, I don't know, it just doesn't look like this is a man who's trying to remain sober in his marriage. That's my biggest problem with Shane, and I do not think that that should take away from the beautiful storyline that occurs pre-marriage. Anyways, in summary, I believe that Shane has the most compelling storyline of the marriageable candidates. He does not take away any marriage options from the NPCs already in town, and he is totally fit for farm life, probably more than most of the marriage candidates. However, I will admit, he does need some work post-marriage. So thank you if you've made it this far. Thank you for watching my presentation on why Shane is the best husband. Let me know if you have thoughts about this, if you hate Shane, if you love Shane, if you think that someone else is the best marriage candidate. Of course, it's all objective. Whoever you want to romance is the best romance candidate in Stardew Valley. So yeah, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.